All right, we're getting the stream started. As we get ready for this, I'm just going to do quick audio checks to make sure we're all set per usual. Just making sure that the volume comes through. All right, we're getting the... Cool, sounds good. All right, guys, we're always just going to jump straight into this because these are working sessions and there is a lot of stuff to cover. Also, I'm extremely behind as I haven't been streaming for probably like a week now, so got a lot of catch up to do, and I'll probably find a weekend to just like sit there for a couple hours to stream. But today's session is going to be about standards. Again, I'm a little behind. I'm supposed to be down here, or 28th today, so I should be down here, and unfortunately we are up here, so we got a bit of catching up to do. Not going to do it today, probably going to do it on the weekend. But today's two sessions are going to be on Chapter 14, Development and Use of Messaging Standards like HL7, and Chapter 15, Development and Use of Clinical Decision Support Standards like CDS hooks. So we're just going to go right in and get started. It's actually turn on the AC a little hot. All right. So let's see, what we're going to do is start off with a nice Google search, Development and Use of Messaging Standards. Let's see what we find. This is nice. Open and use, latest standards. So let's see what they got here. Primary standards. This is pretty nice. So it looks like it covers most of the HL7 standards here. And we're looking, and they only give it an example, but there's a lot of other standards that we can look into. So let me actually see what they show. The most popular standards. This is actually probably okay. Like just to have a background of, maybe I'll go ahead and copy each one of these. Let me see what they show for version 2. Click standard to link more detail. Oh, there's a lot of different standards. Normative. What is this one? If we click on... Maybe I'll just do a little bit of information about each, since this would be probably helpful to learn about, at least even for my own personal knowledge, learning about each one of these standards. It's just really hard because there's so many of them. Version 2.2 messaging standard. Oh yeah, so we're specifically looking for the messaging standard. So historical version. Yeah, this is probably fine. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do here is I'll go ahead and cite this page. This would be a good reference page. Introduction to HL7 Standards. Primary source. Oh, actually, let's do Introduction to HL7 Standards. Let's go and do that. Oops. Insert link. Hopefully I can finish in time. I actually have to go today exactly at 10, which is in about 45 minutes, so I'm probably going to be a little rushed on this. Introduction to HL7 Standard. Yep. Copy this link. It's so slow. There it is. Okay. And I think what I'll do is I'll just copy and paste each one of them in here. So, most popular standards. So we have primary standards. We have clinical document architecture, one of my favorites. 1A, 1B, that's interesting. Oh, so they're actually grouping these together. Section 1, primary standards. Section 1A. Section 1B. electronic health records, HR. Section 1C, which is fast health interop resources. Section 1D, version 2, V2. Section 1E, version 3, V3. They just like all fall under that. Section 1F, RN syntax, section 1G, CC cow, and H, cross paradigm domain analysis models, section 2, which is clinical and administrative domains, section 3 is implementation guides, section 4 is rules and references. So they're only talking about messaging standards, so this is probably more so these down here, along with CDA. Rules and references. Let me go ahead and do this. Introduction are grouped into HL7 standards are grouped into reference categories. There you go. I think what I'll do here is only talk about our most frequently used and in-demand standards are in this category. Section 1. CDA. So let me see. What am I showing here? So there's multiple releases of the CDA. STU informative type. And I'm not very familiar with navigating this site. CCDA navigation, STU, STU. We probably want one of the normative releases. I think STUs are the ones that are still in development. CDA release 2, this is normative. Release 2, but yeah, let's take a look at what this is. Here it is. Is it document markups? Yeah, what I'm gonna do is just copy development and background. So it's gonna go ahead and copy this for the CDA. Okay, let's go into Fire. Well, I guess I'll read it. As part of this is my own learning too, so. Let's see. The HL7 version 3 clinical document architecture is a document markup standard that specifies the structure and semantics of clinical documents for the purpose of exchange between healthcare providers and patients. It defines a clinical document as having the following 6 characteristics: persistence, stewardship, potential for authentication, context, wholeness, and human readability. A CDA can contain any type of clinical content. Typical CDA documents would be a discharge summary, imaging report, admission and physical, pathology report, and more. The most popular use is for inter-enterprise information exchange, such as is envisioned for the U.S. Health Information Exchange. Yeah, I think I mentioned it before. Like, discharge summaries are pretty popular. I work with CDAs quite a bit within the infection control world when we submit hospital-acquired infections to the CDC. Let me see. Let me read this one down here. So the CDA grew out of work that originated outside of HL7 in early 1996 when a group of physicians, including Tom Lincoln, John Spinoza, Dan Essen, John Madison, Bob Dolan, began to meet to discuss the potential for structured markup in clinical documents. The earliest draft was called the Kona architecture and was developed in 1997 after the group had joined HL7. Since that time, many people have worked on it, and the basic ideas have been refined and developed along with the HL7 version 3 framework in the reference information model. The original group morphed into the HL7 structured documents work group which is responsible for CDA and other HL7 document types. CDA introduces the concepts of incremental semantic interoperability. What this means is that there is a range of complexity and allowed within the specification, and users must set their own level of compliance. The minimal CDA is a small number of XML encoded metadata fields such as provider name, document type, document identifier, and so on, in a body which can be any commonly used MIME type such as PDF or Microsoft, or even a scanned image file. And the body of such a document would not be interpretable for applications like decision support. The minimal standard metadata set and display characteristics mean that such a document could be filed, searched, categorized, and retrieved along with more richly encoded documents. They would all be equally readable at the point of care. The most recent version of CDA is Release 2, which is used as the foundation for all current CDA implementation guides. CDA Release 3 is currently under development. It's extremely overwhelming for people who are new to informatics to really get into it. I think this can be a lot of information to take in. All right, let's take a look at Fire. So Fire, let me go ahead and copy one of these. Give a basic introduction here. And then probably, oops, that's not what I want to do. Go into Release 4, which is one of the more common ones. So like benefits development. All right, here we go. There it is. Oh. So with the formatting, it's so strange. Oh. Okay, let's do that. Is this useful up here? All right, let's read this. Fire is an interoperability standard intended to facilitate the exchange of healthcare information between healthcare providers, patients, caregivers, payers, researchers, and anyone else involved in the healthcare ecosystem. It consists of two main parts: a content model in the form of resources, and a specification for the exchange of these resources in the form of real-time RESTful interfaces, as well as messaging and documents. For a C-suite overview, see Fire for the C-suite. Let's take a look at this. This might be very useful to check out. Fire for the C-suite. I wish I can copy this. Let me go ahead and do this. For a easy to understand explanation of Fire C-suite, see this document. Cool, we'll do that. Let me go ahead and read this. HL7 Fire, Fast Healthcare Interoperability Resources, is the next generation standards framework created by Health Level 7 International. For more than 3 decades, HL7 has developed the world's most widely used interoperability solutions for patient care, clinical research, and public health. Today, Fire combines the best features of HL7's existing solutions while leveraging the latest web technologies and applying a critical focus on implementation. Fire solutions are built from a set of modular components called resources. These resources can easily be assembled into working applications that solve real-world clinical and administrative problems at a fraction of the time and cost of existing alternatives. Fire is suitable for use in a wide variety of contexts, including uses for mobile devices, cloud communications, EHR-based data sharing, server communication in large institutions, and much more. The Fire platform can serve as a clinical model for analytics and machine learning. Business case. They offer many improvements over existing solutions, focused on implementation. Fast and easy to implement, solutions have been created in one day. Supported by large implementation libraries, examples are available to accelerate development. Provides interoperability out of the box. Base resources can be used as is or adapted as needed. Evolved from HL7 standards at the heart of meaningful use, Fire supports all of them. Leverages web standards, XML, JSON, HTTP, Atom, OAuth, and many more. Supports REST and service-oriented architectures, as well as message and document exchanges. Specifications are concise and easily understood by both clinicians and developers with little or no clinical experience. This reduces application development time and cost. Release 4 is the first normative edition, now an ANSI standard, providing stable resources and backward compatibility. Fire is licensed under Creative Commons and to be free and without restrictions. Fire delivers flexibility. A central challenge for healthcare standards is how to handle the variability caused by diverse and evolving healthcare processes. Historically, more fields are added to a specification, increasing cost and complexity. Fire addresses this challenge by defining a simple framework for extending and adapting Fire resources. All Fire systems on whatever platform can work with these extensions using the same framework that manages the primary resources, which is the human readable and further augments clinical safety. Fire supports a large implementation community. The Argonaut project was the first implementation initiative emerging from the federally mandated JSON report. The Argonaut initiative grew from a private sector collaboration of EHR developers and large providers to become a global initiative. More recently, the community has expanded exponentially to include U.S. federal agencies, CMS and third-party payers, Da Vinci Project, Biopharma, Transcelerate, and Precision Medicine Sync for Science. ONC has awarded a cooperative agreement to HL7 to create a solution for bulk data. Apple has embedded the Fire specification within iOS 11.3 to enable interoperable personal health records on its mobile platforms. The 6 largest healthcare cloud vendors have agreed to utilize Fire for data exchange between their respective cloud environments. The Fire Accelerator program has emerged as home for innovative approaches to leveraging the HL7 Fire platform. It's a very nice summary. I don't know how much folks know about the whole history of it, but all of the things that has happened here is like an insane game changer, and this is over just the last few years that has happened. Okay, so that's Fire. Let's go and do something for version 2 and version 3, and I think we can probably move on. So let's see, standard version, messaging standard version, so 2.9. Let's go ahead and grab the description. Version 2. Okay. And development background, and we'll read this one in just a second. There it is. HL7 version 2 messaging standard is the workhorse of electronic data exchange in the clinical domain and arguably the most widely implemented standard for healthcare in the world. This messaging standard allows the exchange of clinical data between systems. It is designed to support a central patient care system as a more distributed environment where data resides in departmental systems. As one of the most widely implemented standards for healthcare information in the world, the version 2 messaging standard was first released in October 1987 as an application protocol for electronic data exchange in healthcare environments. Version 2.9, representing the latest update to the version 2 standard, was published in 2019. Due to its widespread use, version 2 will continue to play an integral part in healthcare messaging, even with HL7 version 3 normative edition and development of CDA and Fire. HL7 is committed to supporting and extending version 2 in parallel with its other product families, providing continuity for current installations. Okay, let me just finish up with version 3, and I think we will have this section covered. I think like the point here, like for the exam purposes, at least is just what I'm thinking, is like, I don't think you need to know the details necessarily, at least not in these parts, just being familiar with what exactly is a messaging standard. And for these purposes, where's part 3? This is very strange. release 3. Hold on, this just looks very strange. Specification. Yeah, HL7 version 3 is just insanely complicated, which is why it's like hardly implemented anywhere. I have no idea where this is. Let me see if it shows anywhere here. Version 3. Wow, this is intense. Looks like they split these into different like categories, like clinical categories. I might just grab this instead. Yeah, I think just knowing that these exist out there is like probably solid enough, and then maybe knowing a little more details later on. So HL7 version 3, 2, Fire, and CDAs will probably be one of the main things on the exam. All right, guys, unfortunately, I have to cut this a little short. I'll probably come back later on tonight and finish the rest and do a quick 30-minute live stream to finish chapter 15. But I got to head out for a little bit and come right back. But thanks, guys. I think this will be wrap up this section, and I'll tune back in just a bit. See you guys in a bit. Bye.